Hey guys, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we're going to be going over the primary Incarnon weapon, the Sybaris Prime. Now in this weapon series, I take a weapon, I build it out, and I test that weapon on its own merits, meaning I don't mix it with any kind of external factors that would increase weapon performance. That'd be things like Warframe's using abilities, pets putting statuses on enemies, things like that. I just test the weapon built out by itself, and I leave it up to the viewers to make their own intelligent conclusions about adding external things. All right, let's go into our little cave here. We have the top commenter of the last video. It was actually a three-way tie. I couldn't fit the third person on here, but it was Save My Bees 9, Toxic Sneeze, and Montero U as the tie for the top commenter. And then we have our first commenter, which was Nightly Heretic. And on the side here, we have our recent supporters of Colonel Suro 6, Alfofo, and Toxic Sneeze. Thank you so much for your support. And of course, we're doing the Sybaris Prime today. Let's go ahead and go down to the arsenal here. So the Sybaris Prime is this like little lever action rifle. It's not Incarnon form, shoots out like a burst of 2 shots at a time. It's pretty cool. Now it's Incarnon form. It's probably one of the most straightforward Incarnons in the game. Like a lot of Incarnons do something crazy or completely change the weapon up. This one, not really too much. So the Incarnon form, instead of shooting 2 shots at a time, it's going to be a 4-shot burst instead of a 2-shot burst. And it's going to get forced blast procs. Forced blast procs means it doesn't matter what your status chance is. It doesn't matter about other elements on it. You're just always going to get a blast proc when it hits something. So pretty straightforward for the Incarnon. It's, nothing as flashy as some other Incarnons. So other unique and interesting things about the weapon, not really too much. Not really too much here. So, okay, let's go over the mods. We're going to have Galvanized Chamber for multi-shot, Galvanized Scope for critical chance, Prime Shred for fire rate and punch through. This is a flex slot here, and I'll go over a couple of options, but I have Bladed Rounds for 120% crit damage. Let me circle back to this when we go over all the other mods, because there are a few options for this slot here. There were a few very, very close mods. I was doing damage testing and they were so close to each other. I think there are certain situations where one might eke out the other. So I'll circle back to this slot here. Critical Delay for critical chance. Vital Sense for critical damage. Malignant Force for our 60/60 toxic. And we're going to go for Prime Cryo rounds for our 165 cold. And these 2 mods are going to make viral for us. So viral is an element that doesn't mind if it gets produced in smaller quantities. You still get a lot of value out of lower procs or lower proc amounts of viral. But that being said, I mean, the weapon has a pretty good status chance already at 64% with only one 60/60 on. And that's why you don't really need to use the other 60/60 cold. You can actually just get more damage out of using primed cryo rounds over the 60/60 there. Now, if you were using an external viral primer, like let's say you were using the Panzerwelbephilia, or maybe you had Nourish on your Warframe, then your next best element is going to be corrosive. Okay, so viral if you don't have an external primer, and corrosive if you do have an external primer that you're using. The other time that you may want to switch to corrosive, even if you don't have an external viral primer, is if you're going against Murmur. Murmur enemies, corrosive will be slightly better against, than viral, I should say. Okay. Vigilante Supplies in the Exilis slot here. This is going to give us a 5% chance to enhance critical hits from primary weapons. There's another okay option in the Exilis slot. The unfortunate thing is that it's not the same polarity. Like you will start with a dash in the Exilis slot. And so it's very easy to fit Vigilante Supplies, and Vigilante Supplies is a very good option for the slot. So there's not a huge incentive to switch to this other option, but that would be Guided Ordnance. On a hit, you get plus 30% accuracy when aiming for 9 seconds. If you try to shoot, like if you just go into a mission or go into the simulacrum and you kind of go like towards like medium-ish ranges, you'll notice that the shots aren't exactly pinpoint. They spread a little bit at medium ranges. Guided Ordnance could turn it into more of a pinpoint at medium range weapon. It's pretty good. It would be an okay like side grade to Vigilante Supplies, but I feel like because the weapon comes with a dash and you would literally have to reformat to fit Guided Ordnance, I don't think guided ordnance is good enough to beat out vigilante supplies. So we're going to be keeping vigilante supplies in our build here. In the arcane slot, we're going to go for primary deadhead. This is on a precision headshot kill. You get 360% flat damage, or 120% stacking 3 times. So 360% altogether, plus 30% headshot multiplier, and minus 50% weapon recoil. We're going to be getting our weapon recoil in 2 different places, which is going to completely remove the recoil on the Sybaris. And that's why in our eggs list, we're not really considering stabilizer, because one of the evolutions is going to be negative recoil, and then primary deadhead also gives us negative recoil. So we don't really have to worry about using the eggs list slot for that. Okay, let's go back to this bladed round slot here. So the 2 top damage sources for this slot were bladed rounds and rifle elementalist. Let me type in elementalist here. Okay, so bladed rounds, of course, is just another 120% crit damage. That's nice because the base critical chance of the Incarnon form is 3 times, which is well above average. So it's nice to get more critical damage. However, let's look at rifle elementalist, plus 90% status damage and 0.6 punch through. That doesn't matter as much because we're using prime shred here. So status damage is really good on blast because blast, you kind of get the value out of it early. Elementalist is usually a mod that's really good on like level cap builds, because for you to get the value out of dots like heat and electric and stuff like that, the enemies have to be alive for a good amount of time to actually take a few ticks of the dot. Well, blast, you get like kind of full value right away because the dude just blows up and you get full value out of it. And so rifle elementalist on a blast heavy weapon is actually really good even early on, even, you know, not just for level cap, but even early on, you get a lot of value out of this. And testing rifle elementalist in the simulacrum versus bladed rounds, I was killing the group of 20 Exo Ghostag level 225 Steel Path dudes. I was killing them in about the same time. However, bladed rounds was producing the most single target damage. So the only thing I can think of is maybe the rifle elementalist, like the blast procs, were just doing a little bit more damage, which I guess would make sense. But I was seeing bigger numbers out of bladed rounds. So you can make that decision yourself. They were so close that I didn't really know what to suggest here. I'm going to suggest the one that I saw bigger numbers on, which is bladed rounds. But again, the kill per second or minute or whatever you want to call killing only 20 dudes in the simulacrum, they were both pretty much the same, bladed rounds and rifle elementalist. I just visually saw bigger numbers with bladed rounds. Okay. But yeah, consider rifle elementalist. The other consideration for this slot would be hunter munitions. Now, hunter munitions has a 30% chance to apply a slash proc on a critical. That's pretty nice, especially if your build is not going for armor strip for some reason. You know, slash kind of bypasses armor. So I think the only time hunter munitions would beat out bladed rounds or elementalist was if you were doing like a late game, like almost level cap build, and you weren't going for an armor like stripper. Hunter munitions might be able to beat out bladed rounds and elementalist. But otherwise, bladed rounds and elementalist are going to be your 2 top damage choices for this slot right here. Okie dokie, that is the build for the Sybaris there. Let's go into the evolutions for it. It's got pretty simple evolutions too. It's nothing really too complicated about the Sybaris, to be honest. First evolution is that you've just unlocked it. Congratulations. Second evolution, we're going to be going for Blazing Barrel. Increases your base damage by plus 15. And on firing, you get plus 5% multi-shot, and it stacks up to 10 times. So 50% multi-shot. That's pretty nice. And it's just on firing, so like the conditional of it is negligible basically, because you're always going to be shooting anyway. So yeah, you can just look at this as plus 15 base damage and plus 50 multi-shot. Really nice. Simple. Let's look at the other one here. Well rehearsed. Increases base damage by plus 15. Okay, so the same. And on a consecutive weak point hit, increases base damage by plus 5, stacking up to 3 times. So another plus 15, but you have the conditional that you need to have consecutive weak point hits. This maybe could be better, but if you were like Eagle Eyes Malone and you could hit every single friggin' shot on a weak point, I consider myself an above average player and I still can't do this. So for me, I'm going to be going for Blazing Barrel. It's just more consistent. There's not as many conditionals, or really any conditionals almost, in Blazing Barrel here. Okay, the third evolution here. This is another pretty easy choice because the other two don't really infect the Incarnon. So I'm going to be going for Marksman's Hand. This is minus 60% weapon recoil. This lets us use another Exilus instead of having to use steady hands on our Exilus. So, you know, we get to use Vigilante supplies because we're going for Marksman Hand. Now, the other two here increases base magazine capacity by plus 12. This is an Incarnon weapon, so like you don't really want to be in the non-Incarnon for that long. And this doesn't affect the Incarnon, so I don't feel like this is a very good option. Ready Retaliation. On a reload from empty, you get plus 60% reload speed. This won't affect the Incarnon most of the time. It'll affect the transition into the Incarnon. Like you can go into Incarnon a little bit quicker if you were to empty the non-Incarnon. I just don't value that super high. So I'm going to be going for Marksman's Hand. Again, it's just a simple thing that works all the time. Fourth evolution. We're going to be going for Survivor's Edge. Increases base critical chance by plus 5%, I should say, and increases base status chance by plus 10%. Now, because we're going for a viral build, the status chance doesn't really even matter. Honestly, if I could turn the base critical into plus 10 and just get rid of the status chance, I would do that. But whatever, you know, you get plus 5 critical chance and you get plus 10 status chance. Let's look at this other one here. Increases base status chance by plus 8%, and the effect doubles in Incarnate form, so plus 16%. Well, you don't need that for viral. Viral doesn't need a very high status chance. And the blast procs are forced, so status chance doesn't matter on the blast procs anyway. So this is kind of wasted unless you're going for like an elemental focused build for some reason. Reaver's Rapture. On a full burst hit, plus 20% damage, resets on reload. This could be good. You got to be making sure to actually hit all 4 shots in your burst, which is not terrible, but I don't know. I feel like Survivor's Edge is just a simple, it's a simple one that just works all the time. You get 5% base crit, really nice. So, and that's it. That's the evolutions for the Sybaris Incarnon there. That's how to build out the Sybaris Incarnon. I'm going to show this off in about 10 minutes of Steel Path gameplay. I'll show you how this works. Of course, I'm going to be doing this on a big dumb Inaros with no Archon shards that increase weapon performance. No mods or arcanes on the Inaros that increase weapon performance. And with a pet with no sentinel weapon and no mods on the pet that increase weapon performance. Alrighty. Make sure we're on solo. We're on Steel Path, and we'll head to Mott where we do most of our testing. So when I do these runs, average weapons will get to about 500 kills in 10 minutes. Above average weapons, weapons that I consider good, would get to about 700 kills in 10 minutes. And weapons that are more meta and like, you know, the top weapons in the game will get to about 900 and over.
These foes deserve your respect. Honor them.
All right, so non-Incarnon, of course, is just a 2-shot burst. And when we go into the Incarnon, it's going to be a 4-shot burst.
They have just shut down all systems.
Except it'll have forced blast, which is really nice. Let's fill this up a little bit here. I'm going to go into Incarnon a little bit early here. This is probably one of the least flashy Incarnons in the game, but I kind of appreciate it though, because I really like how the Sybaris feels. And I like that it doesn't turn into anything weird. You know, it's still just that nice lever action rifle. It's just that it is a little bit more powerful because it's got blast on it for free. And it's 4-shot bursts instead of a 2-shot. sometimes the Incarnon weapons that are, they wildly change the weapons. Some of them are annoying because some of them, the weapon will go from a single target weapon that you could use like galvanized crosshairs on to a like AoE weapon that you really shouldn't be using galvanized crosshairs on. So it's like you have like two firing modes that kind of don't get built the same way, which is really annoying. On the Sybaris though, you know, they basically would get built the exact same way. Well, you wouldn't put Elementalist on the non-Incarnon. Now, another thing that people might say is, you know, what about Acuity? And I feel like this weapon would be pretty good with Acuity as well. I personally do not like the Acuity mod unless it's for very, very specific weapons. I don't value it as much as just having multi-shot. I know, like in the Simulacrum, it will appear stronger than a multi-shot weapon because dudes are like standing still and you can easily hit their heads. But in actual gameplay, like for this mission, it might appear better than the multi-shot, but a lot of other missions where you have enemies that are different levels, like a pure Corpus mission where you have some dudes that are Moas and Ospreys, or like Tech Rot where like they have weird weak points, or Murmur enemies where they have weird weak points. Acuity builds really suffer. And I don't want to have to worry about what mission gets queued up and be like, oh no, my Acuity build is garbage here. I would just want a weapon that works all the time. But that being said, you know, this is a good weapon to use Acuity on if you really wanted to. It wouldn't be that much of a change either. You basically just take off the multi-shot. The chamber mod, you would take off chamber and put Acuity there. Again, it's just more of a personal thing that I personally value multi-shot a bit higher. So even though this would be a good weapon as a candidate for Acuity, I'm not personally going to use it. Because to get value out of it, you really need to be weak point hitting more often than you're not weak point hitting. And again, I consider myself an above average player, and I still don't weak point hit all the time. A lot of my shots are kind of chest level. And that's on these easy maps where I can just kind of, like this right here, like most of these dudes are on the same head height, so they should be kind of easy to get headshots on. And I still kind of screw it up. Yeah, the Sybaris Incarnon is available this week in the Duviri lineup for Steel Path. You have Misery here. Where is Misery? Oh, there he is. Chunks him down, very nice. I think this is going to do pretty good on its 10-minute kill count number. I don't even have the best tile set to farm in. I kind of have this like weird janky tile set. But I think it's going to still do pretty well. Will it hit the 900 plus mark? I don't know. I think if it doesn't hit the 900 plus mark, it'll be in the 800s. So I'm thinking either 800 or maybe it'll hit like the low 900s. That's my guess for this weapon. The other thing I didn't mention is that if you don't have Prime Shred, use Vile Acceleration instead. And that would be fine. You'll just get more value out of Prime Shred if you have access to it. Unfortunately, Prime Shred is a login reward, though, so some people won't have Prime Shred. So if that's you, then use Vile Acceleration. It's okay. It's not too bad. You won't get the punch through, but you'll get a little bit more fire rate. So it'll kind of make up for it, kind of. Although punch through is quite valuable on these single target weapons. It's what makes them competitive, like versus AoE weapons in the game, because you're still basically able to multi-hit by just punching through. Vor's still chilling here. I usually don't kill Vor, but he's been annoying. There we go. You're going down this time, Vor. I picked up another one of the new Incarnon weapons this week. I can't remember which one it was. Oh, the Sybaris, the pistol, the Sybaris. So tomorrow will probably either be the Sybaris or a Warframe video, one or the other. I really like this weapon myself, though. It's right up my alley. I really like Galvanized Crosshair's weapons. And this, you get free Blast on this, which is really cool. Like, Blast is a good element. It's just that sometimes you won't put it on low alpha damage weapons because Viral will beat it out. But like this weapon, you get it for free, and you can then put Viral on. Which is really nice. Really nice. All right, what do we got? We got about a minute left. Try to get our kill numbers up. We got to beat the Torrid. We got to beat the Torrid. Probably not, but we'll try. Probably a little bit early to go in Incarnon there. I only had like quarter of a bar. This weapon does not fill its bar as quick as some weapons. That's my only little bit of a gripe with it. Although it does have a really big Incarnon meter. Like you get a lot of shots in Incarnon. It's just to actually fill the bar takes a bit. Where's Violence at? He's behind me? There he is. That was like 3.5 bursts. Finished him off. Got 30 seconds left. All right, it's 10 minutes. Let's stop shooting. Let's go ahead and head to extraction. And let's take a gander at our kill number here. 1,087. Oh my goodness, this did really friggin' good. I didn't think it was going to hit those numbers. That's like Torrid level. What the hell? I mean, maybe it was the tile set I was farming in, but I felt like that wasn't the best tile set. Like I feel like in other runs, I've had better tile sets than that. This did really friggin' good. I'm very surprised at that kill number. I was thinking it was going to be in the 800s to low 900s, lower to mid 900s. 1,087. Damn. And again, consider this is an easy to use weapon. This is not a weapon where you have to like do weird shenanigans, like to make it good. So really nice. Very simple Incarnon. Like the actual transition from non-Incarnon to Incarnon is not that different. So it feels effectively like the same weapon, just slightly stronger. Pretty easy build. Like it's a pretty standard assault rifle build that you would put on like 99% of assault rifles in the game. So like there's nothing too crazy about it. You just have a really strong weapon in this package. So yeah, that's everything. That's Sybaris Prime Incarnon. Definitely suggest to grab it and to build it out. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, consider giving it a like. If you haven't subbed yet, consider subbing or tell me what I can do to earn your sub. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. All right, bye.